watching Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. I am Oluwayemi Adelako.
And I am Samson Balogun. A beautiful morning to you, wherever you are across Nigeria and beyond. We are live from Ibadan. And trust us, there is a lot to unpack today. So stay with us on this show.
First off, let's take a quick look at the weather for our viewers here in Ibadan. Expect partly cloudy skies today, with temperatures peaking around 30 degrees Celsius and a slight chance of afternoon showers across major cities like Abuja, Lagos and Port Harcourt. It's generally warm with intermittent cloud cover. Don't forget your umbrella, just in case.
Well, you might need it. Now let's get to the show rolling with Daybreak News, giving you a snapshot of what's shaping Nigeria and the world today. Then we'll head straight into newspaper headlines and analysis, spotlighting the biggest stories making waves across our national dailies.
Definitely. And speaking of big story, our big story today zooms in on a topic that eats at the very core of national discourse: leadership failure and the role of followers. In a country where citizens often feel let down by those in power, the question arises: what responsibility do the followers have? Are we victims or enablers?
Yes, that's right. You are right. Joining us shortly is Sam Nwoko, a senior editor with the Nigerian Tribune newspaper and a respected public affairs analyst. He will help us dissect the issue with historical context, recent developments, and what citizens and leaders alike can do to move the nation forward. And
trust us, is not all gloom and doom. We'll also take you through Trend Watch, where we track the hottest and most talked about issues in current affairs, from politics and policy to pop culture and youth activism. Nigeria never sleeps, and neither do the headlines.
Yes, so grab your copy, a cup of coffee, your tea, whatever it is you can have this morning, even if it is smoothie, settle in, because this morning's conversation might just challenge the way you see leadership, and more importantly, how you see your role as an individual in the country, and of course your role in building the Nigeria we all desire.
It's Daybreak Live, it's Tuesday, and it's time to get inspired, informed and involved. Let's kick things off with the news.
All right, okay. Good morning to you, Yemi.
Exactly,
good morning. To be here again.
Good to be here with you.
Honestly, there's something that baffles so many Nigerians. Well, some who actually see it from that perspective.
Okay.
And for some of us who probably at one point or the other have been either on the receiving end, or probably we have actually been there to met out such, I won't call it, it's actually a bad attitude, let me put it that way, but then the way people stereotype against their domestic staff, it's really something
it's newsworthy.
Yes, it's newsworthy actually. I think I was reading an article by someone a few years ago, and talked about how some people, whether they are rich enough to get domestic staff, gatesman, house help that lives with them in the building, sometimes those who live in, and sometimes those who come, then do their job and then leave.
Yeah.
The attitude towards, especially young kids, you begin to wonder, aren't these people also human beings too? It's actually challenging to think that way. I was at a restaurant at a Challenge. That was 2 years ago. I saw a family of 4. The husband, the wife, 2 children, and then the house help. That makes it 5. But what actually amazed me that day was the fact that, the family was sitting down, they ordered for what they wanted, and the house help was sitting down somewhere far away. And then I was like, I saw them, they came in together, but she could not sit on the same table with them. And I was wondering, what exactly is the problem? How much is a pie and a bottle of soft drink that you would buy for this girl? And she was just sitting watching them as they were eating, and then when they were done, they were about to go, then that was when I intercepted and then bought something for the little girl. But I knew that she was going to suffer for it when she got home.
Exactly. And maybe they'll ask her, why did you have to take that from that young man?
They will probably think probably she asked me for it. That was what they were going to think. But then, hey, I just had to do something.
Honestly, I think it's quite sad. Just like you said, we've seen cases whereby, young boys and girls of about age 10, that young, sometimes age 12. Some of them are even forced into this. And then we have some whereby their parents decided to release them because of, okay, we cannot cater for you. Can you look for how to, cater for yourself? And just like you said, I think I experienced something similar. There was a time that I saw a young girl of about 12 or 13. She had to go report to the police station. Why? Because the agent who brought her to those people that she works for, when they pay, when the family pays him, he doesn't remit the money to the lady. and then so she could not get access to her money, and then I don't know who taught her, to go and report the case to the police station. So she went there, reported the case, and then the police had to come and then interfered in the matter. We've even seen cases of some of them, they escape. When they are able to gather enough money, they leave because they are tired of the job. But we've also seen people who are able to treat their domestic staff very well. And not even in Nigeria. Over there, nannies are treated as part of the family. You see, they celebrate them. These things don't just happen in the movies. It happens in real life. When they are celebrating their birthdays, they give them, good gifts and the likes.
Send them to school.
Exactly. However, speaking of the fact that, some of them are not being treated fairly, we've also seen cases whereby some are given everything, all the care in the world.
They will still do what they know how to.
Exactly. They will still, do some things that are not, quite good, to the family. So there's an elderly person I know, she will always say that when it comes to domestic staff, it's luck. Because it doesn't matter the fact that you have a good heart. Exactly. It's luck. You can be so lucky with them. You meet some of them and they will work for you as if they are part of your family. But then I used to say that the first thing that people will come in contact with is your humanity. Honestly, just do your best, treat them well, because you don't know, you might just even meet them somewhere else in the world. We've seen people who actually pay the tuition fees of the children of their domestic staff.
Yes.
Honestly, so these things can
happens
work.
Actually. But then the only thing I want to talk about this morning is the fact that if you have a living house help, let me put it, domestic staff, and you treat them badly, the question is, don't you know your life depends on it?
Of course.
They
some
cook
people
your
don't see
food.
it that way.
They cook your food. They are always there. They take care of your children. Anything can just happen.
Of course.
You have entrusted them with so much, yet you are not doing so little for them. So they can just decide one day, I'm just fed up, let me just do this. We have seen clips and videos and probably news on the pages of the newspaper of domestic staff actually eventually harming, people who actually brought them in. So,
people they are working for.
There was one I was reading a few days ago of the driver and the cook. They connived and then killed the owner of the house, stole just a paltry 150,000 naira, just because of 150,000.
I think I heard about the story. And at the end of the day, they were not even able to get 150,000. They were able to get 60,000 of the money, and they shared it 30-30. So you killed someone because of 60,000 naira. So these are the issues, really.
If probably, though we are not saying
it's not justified. Honestly, no matter what.
It's not justified. We are not saying it is justifiable, but the truth of the matter is, at one point or the other, just think of them as members of your family.
Exactly.
You would have family members who are also struggling, life is happening to them and they come to you for help and you get to fix it. So once they also have personal issues, regardless of if you pay them salaries or not, and you feel like you are in the position to do it, just do it. It doesn't cost you anything, because the moment they start making your food, they live in your house.
They drive.
They know so much about you. Your life depends on it. I was talking to a colleague, I think that was yesterday, talking about a driver that drove you, to a particular event. You left that driver there for about 5 or 6 hours, sitting down out there, no food, no water, in the sun. And you are busy enjoying yourself in there. So what that tells you is, I don't care, whatever happens to you, and you are under the obligation to provide, daily allowance to this driver. And for the last 2 days, you have not provided. The person was now saying, look, I've not eaten for the last 2 days. And he's been busy driving you. Your life is at stake. It's at risk.
You're at risk, honestly.
That's a lot to handle for people who are actually heartless. But then you have to think about it. Every now and then when you sleep and wake up, just know that people who work for you, people who actually work with you, people who know so much about you, your life depends on it.
And speaking of agent, I think if you get someone, maybe a domestic staff, gets to work with you, try to make sure that the agent is paying what he or she's supposed to pay to that person, because some of them they have been complaining that, okay, this person, the family is paying you 100,000, for instance, that you are paying me 35 or 40,000. it doesn't work that way. They're not even the one
doing the work.
Exactly.
That's too much. The percentage is just
do your investigations and make sure that person is paid well. And also,
it is even better that you do the little you can do just to augment whatever it is they are getting.
Aside
every
from
now and
the payment.
Every now and then, if you actually afford to do it, please do, because your family is involved. You are involved.
Because, do you know that some of them are well educated? Because sometimes people feel like domestic staff, most of them are illiterate. Some are graduates.
The problem is when life happens to people, they tend to do anything that brings food to their table.
Exactly.
But then, hey, let's just say today the advice is be good to your domestic staff. And
Definitely.
that takes us away from this segment of the show this morning. We say very thank you for being a part of the show so far. Do not forget to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. On X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave your comment there, and of course we'll definitely take them on this show. And then you can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Now it's time to take the news. We'll be back after this time out.
Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV. Make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I am Oluwayemi Adelako. President Bola Tinubu has expressed deep sorrow over the loss of lives and destruction caused by the recent flood in Yola, Adamawa State, and the boats mishap in Guni Village, Niger State. In a statement issued by Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the president conveyed his condolences to the affected families and commended the emergency responders who have been on the front line of rescue efforts. Despite ongoing efforts by relevant government bodies to educate the public, the president expressed concern over the repeated occurrence of such tragedies. To provide immediate relief and support to victims, Tinubu directed urgent intervention from relevant federal agencies. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has pledged to resolve ongoing issues with a private investor contracted to upgrade Agodi Gardens into a world-class botanical garden. The project, stalled for nearly a year, faced setbacks due to mutual accusations government officials alleged land grabbing, while the investor cited bureaucratic delays and inconsistent policies. However, Governor Makinde has reopened communication with the investor, aiming for peaceful resolution and potential revisions to the agreement to suit current economic conditions. As of now, Agodi Gardens remains underutilized while construction continues on the nearby Baywood residential estate. Members of the All Progressive Congress, APC in Lagos, have staged a protest at the Lagos State House of Assembly complex, calling for the immediate removal of the party's state chairman, Pastor Cornelius Odelabi. The demonstrators, said to be drawn from all 15 local council development areas, LCDAs, across the state, gathered in Alausa, Ikeja, holding placards with bold messages. They voiced strong dissatisfaction with the current leadership, urging a change in the party's state structure ahead of key political developments. Former Minister of Youth and Sports and ex-chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Solomon Dalung, has predicted an intensifying internal crisis within the ruling party, warning that it could surpass the challenges faced by any other political party in the country. Dalung made his assertion during an interview with newsmen during his recent visit to Ibadan. Speaking on the state of the APC, Dalong described the party as heading towards internal turmoil following controversial leadership changes and political realignment. Referenced the recent ousting of the party's national chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, and ongoing talks to bring Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, former presidential candidate of the new Nigeria's People's Party, NNPP, into the APC fold. Dalong noted that the ADC has already taken proactive steps towards building a strong coalition with a focus on national development over personal ambition. He emphasized that the party's long-term goal is to offer a credible platform that can restore national integrity and rebuild public trust should both APC and PDP continue to lose popular support. Former Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has publicly endorsed President Bola Tinubu and Governor Biodo Oyembaji of Ekiti State for a second term in office ahead of the 2027 general elections. Speaking at a political gathering in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, Fayose declared his support for the re-election of the president and the continuation of Oyembaji's administration, despite being a member of the opposition. He said their collective presence was a show of unity and a sign of political maturity. Fayose further stated that he is not a member of the All Progressives Congress, said his support was based on performance rather than party loyalty. In business, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has inaugurated the new Managing Director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, Thompson Oludari Sunday, and Executive Director of Operations, Dr. Kabiru Katata, at the Ministry of Finance, Abuja. Edun submitted that the NDIC, as a component of the financial safety net, has a crucial role to play in the nation's march to economic stability and prosperity. He therefore charged the management team to bring their diverse wealth of experience to bear on the new assignment while assuring them of the ministry's full support in the task ahead. Responding, Sunday, who spoke on behalf of the management team, assured the Honorable Minister of the readiness of the management under his leadership to live up to the expectations of the President, in particular, and the nation in general, in the discharge of their duties. In sports, President Bola Tinubu and the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, have received Nigeria's Super Falcons at the Presidential Villa following their record victory at the 2025 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco on Saturday. The Coastal Bosses conveying the players and coaching the crew arrived at the forecourt of Aso Rock. The Super Falcons, 10-time African champions after their 3-2 comeback over the Atlas Lioness Morocco, were received by the President Chief of Staff, Femi Gbetabiamila, upon their arrival. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That's the breaking news. I am Oluwayemi Adelakunsin. Thank you for watching and good morning.
Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV. Make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
All right, I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Headlines Analysis. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. And this morning I have quite a number of headlines to talk about. Let's start from the Daily Times. I have this one that says WAFCON 24 win. Tinubu rewards Super Falcons with national honors, $100,000 each. Announces that's a massive one, and of course, I mean, we celebrate these people, I mean, for doing excellently well. They played well, and of course they were able to win. However, when I read comments on this post, I mean, across the newspaper dailies that we have, a lot of persons were complaining about the fact that the money is too much. Do you think the money is too much? Looking at the fact that, I mean, they played their part to actually, come out, to, put in all their effort to ensure that they won the game, I mean, against Morocco. We're going to talk about that this morning because, I mean, soon enough, I'll have my analyst join me on the show. Do you think that reward is enough, or is too much, or is too, I don't know. I would love to, talk about this morning because a lot of Nigerians are saying, the money is too much, the LCs, I mean, that money could be slashed into two, used for some other things, but also let's also look at the fact that, I mean, they are still Nigerians. We'll talk about that extensively this morning. I also have this headline that says party membership, SDP announces embargoes El-Rufai for 30 years. And when I read the report, I mean, SDP have come out to say that, El-Rufai did not, register properly. He's not a proper member of the party. And then he went online to say, I have left, the APC to join the SDP without making, necessary arrangements, to be a bona fide member of the SDP. However, looking at this embargo, 30 years, he's been banned from the party, for 30 years. And of course, we all know that El-Rufai is part of the coalition. Do you see him moving permanently to the ADC, looking at what has just happened, I mean, within the SDP? And then do you see any other, I mean, inside or internal hand in this? Because a lot of persons are saying that is not, it did not just happen like that. I mean, it has the hands of some certain persons in it. Moving away from that, let's also check this headline that says bandits kill 35 Zamfara villagers after receiving 50 million naira ransom. I think about a few days ago, a few weeks ago, we read about the fact that, some military men actually, turned down some amount of money that was actually given to them by bandits so that they can keep mum. But however, look at this headline that says bandits kill 35 Zamfara villages after receiving 50 million ransom. They were able to receive the ransom from these people, then they still killed them. I mean, what do we make of this? It still talks about the fact that insecurity, is still very high in the country, and then we need to do something about it. And I want to say it's not just about pumping money, to tackle that side of the nation. It's about looking for strategic ways to actually, capture these people, I mean, so that we can all, live in peace in the country. Away from that, let's cross over. From the Daily Times, the Guardian newspaper, I have this headline that says NMA threatened strike, rules exit of 30 doctors in Jigawa. Honestly, this Japa syndrome in the health sector is a lot to undo. And I always say that insecurity, we also have insecurity in the health sector. Yes, we have it across the country, I mean, the northern part, eastern part, even in the southern part. But looking at the fact that, I mean, these people, you know, they have come out to say that we're going to go on strike, I mean, if our demands are not met. And of course, the way doctors are leaving the country, why? Because they're able to find something better outside of here, because you know you can really not blame these doctors, these nurses for leaving. A lot of them, you know, have to sell property just so they can travel. A lot of them have to borrow money just so they can leave. And like one elderly person will say, these people are escaping. They are escaping out of this place. Why? Because they feel they are not treated properly. And that sector is a very delicate one. I mean, the lives of people at risk. Imagine if doctors decide to go on strike for months. What will happen? Even when they are not on strike, look at the number of doctors. I mean, to 5,000 patients, it has reduced drastically. Something urgent must be done. And I look forward to, I mean, a system whereby these the representatives of these bodies will meet with the federal government and reach a concrete agreement that can put an end to all of this. Moving away from that, let's also check this headline that says Tinubu honors Super Falcons with ON flat millions for WAFCON triumph. We've talked about that. Also, we have this one that says security forces kill 45 bandits in Noida, suffer casualties in Castina. It's a lot to undo. Insecurity, I mean, is really ravaging the country. Something urgent must be done about that. Let's cross over to the Punch newspaper. I have this headline that says Lassa fever death toll rises to 152 amid 811 cases. That's a lot. I mean, we should look for how to actually cut that and reduce it to the barest minimum. Also have this headline that says federal government launches crackdown on NDAs after 300% surge to impress claims. U.S. birth tourism crackdown sparks Nigerian hospital reform cause. Honestly, because I read the report that says that, you see, as a Nigerian, it's going to be very difficult for you if they have the intentions of traveling to the United States to give birth, just so you can give birth there and then, acquire the citizenship. It's going to be a lot difficult now, looking at, some policies that United States is putting in place. I mean, this should be a call, I mean, to our leaders. I mean, let's get better as well. Let Nigeria, be on that global mark, I mean, for good and great things. And that's when we can actually do better, because that's when, some of these Western bodies can begin to take us serious and then put in some policies that can help us as well. Away from that, also have this headline that says nurses strike to eat hospitals nationwide Wednesday. That's tomorrow. It's really sad looking at the fact that these people are going to go on strike tomorrow. Nurses do a lot. If you visit the hospital, you can tell that these people do a lot. All right, I think this is where we take a short break, and it's time to invite my analyst on board, two young men who help me make sense of some of the top stories this morning. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ever dreamed of creating the next viral series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV, make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
right, I'll welcome you back. This is still Headlines Analysis, and of course, I have with me in the studio, I have Victor Akilane, who is a political scientist, and of course, is a commentator on national issues. And of course, I have with me Bola Adebi, who is a historian and a writer, and of course, a researcher as well. And then they will help me make sense of some of the top stories that we have across the dailies this morning. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, let's start from this that has generated a lot of controversies online. I have this from the Daily Times, and it says, WAFCON 24 win, Tinubu rewards Super Falcons with national honors, $100,000 each, and of course, ounces. Some Nigerians are saying, really, is this not too much? Looking at the fact that, yes, they have tried, to win this for the country. A lot of us celebrated, we were jumping up, because, we appreciate the fact that they were able to do that. It's not easy. But what do you make of this? Let me start with Victor.
Okay, so, well, first of all, congratulations to Nigeria on that.
Yes.
And then good job from those ladies. But, yeah, there is nothing we'll give to those people that is too much.
Okay.
That's importantly, there's nothing we give to them that is too much because they worked tirelessly to get that done. However, in this economy, I think I would support the fact that maybe it is too much. No, that's kind of too much for now because of the present economy. But don't forget I said there's nothing we give them that is too much. All right? But because of this economy, I think that is a misuse of public funds. Let's look at it this way. There are a lot of people doing spectacular things for the nation. Okay. Are they getting such rewards?
Can you mention?
Let's not go too far.
Okay.
But then, there are a lot of people both at home and abroad that are doing spectacularly well for the nation. But are they getting such rewards too? That's what we should check. So that's a whole lot of money, and all of those resources here and there. Don't forget that these guys too will be paid by the WAFCON itself. Yeah. I think 30% of the 30% of that money goes to them, to the team. So when they slash this, that's a whole lot. And giving them that money, now don't get me wrong, there is no amount of whatever we give to them that is too much. However, in this season, the economy is shaking. So giving that huge amount of money for now is misuse of public funds in an economy that is crippling, number one. Then number two, there are other people that are doing spectacularly well. Are they also rewarded in such manner? Yes,
all right, let me turn to Bola. What do you make of this? The economy has been in this state for a while now. Do you think the money, is okay for them, looking at the fact that they've made us proud, or you have a counter opinion?
Okay, just an addition to what my colleague said.
Okay.
There's first of all, congratulations to the ladies, and it's a joyous moment for them. And but my point is that there is so much more that the money could do, and there are so many talents in local government and right there at all levels in the country. So many more talents that some of that money can go into. So yeah, so many. It's just like
in addition to that, the Nigerian league, both the professional and the immediate, they are not doing so well in the global space, even in Africa. They are not doing so well. All of this money could be pumped, even if it is one club that you will raise that will represent the nation well in Africa. You get so.
So much funds can go into the local government level where we have so many talents that can be discovered, and yeah, good thing to do to appreciate the women, and but there is so much more that could go into establishing sports centers at local government levels, because there are so many numbers of youth who are talented. Even some are here to discover their potentials. Some have discovered their potentials, but there are no resources to support their dreams. Football. Some just want to become footballers, and they don't want anything other than that. But where are the facilities to aid, to hone their skills? So much more could be invested in sports centers, establishments across all local government levels.
Okay, I think it's a good place to leave that. Let's cross over to another headline. I have this one that says, party membership, SDP denounces embargoes RFI for 30 years. And of course, I recall there was a time he came online on X, to be particular, to say that, you see, I've left the APC to the SDP. And now the SDP is coming out to say this man is not a proper member of a party. And of course, we are going to ban him for 30 years. I mean, that's long. Looking at the fact that, you know, however, we also know that this man is part of the coalition. Do you see this as political? I mean, do you see some hands in these, I mean, aside from the members of the SDP themselves? Let me start with, you know, Victor.
So there are a lot of underlying issues that we may not know. Like you said, is it political? I want to believe to a very large extent that it's political. I mean, have we ever heard of such somebody being banned for 30 years? Come on. So, two things I would say. One, from El-Rufai now, even if it is true, what game is he playing? You just left a party, you are part of the coalition of a particular party, and then you are joining another party. Let's stop behaving like a leaf on the water. Let's know your stand. He's an elderly man. He's a big gun in the political space. So let us know what you are standing for. Let us know who you are standing with, and let's know where you are going. That's for him. And then for other people, how do I put it now? Other people that are part of this story, the 30 years could be just to maybe just make him scare off the entire game he's trying to play or whatever. But I believe there are more stories, underlying stories that we do not know yet. So I want to say maybe as time goes on, things would unfold themselves again. But for now, okay, I feel there's more to that than what we are just saying.
All right, let me turn to Bola, because I read the report and I watched the interview online where we have the former governor of Borno State, you know, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, you know, said something, you know, that has to do with the coalition. And of course, he mentioned the likes of El-Rufai, the likes of Atiku. He said he doesn't see the coalition or the ADC, if you like, as a party or a system that can unseat the president, you know, come 2027. Looking at the fact that we have the big wigs there. We have the likes of Atiku, yes, we have the likes of El-Rufai, we have the likes of Amechi. What do you make of this coalition?
So, the ban of Ali Modu, it's political, really.
Okay.
There is no, I think there is no other perspective to it. It's political to render him irrelevant, okay, perhaps for the amount of years he has been banned, and of course, and to create spaces and for the big wigs in APC to make to fan much support, and so yeah, it's political. Now, will he listen? That's another question. Will he take that into effect and say, okay, I obey what you say? No. And a typical Nigerian politician will not. He will go around canvassing support, and you know, because they want to render him irrelevant, and a typical Nigerian politician does not want to be irrelevant.
Okay.
He wants to remain irrelevant, part of the game, because I'm not a politician myself, but in that kind of position that he is in, he will not obey.
Okay.
Yes. What about this?
Okay.
Well, SDP banned him for 30 years, just for the party, not for the entire political activities. Is that it?
Just like I said, I mean, he's part of the coalition.
So, what if? Okay. So he left APC,
yeah, he did,
and then is somewhere between SDP and SDP, ADC and SDP.
Okay.
And then SDP now says, hey man, we are banning you from SDP for 30 years. Meaning that concentrate on ADC and concentrate on the coalition. How about that?
Yeah,
however, even members of the APC, just like our Aspolan, they have come out to say that even the ADC, let's not even talk about SDP, they don't even see SDP as a proper opposition party. Well, they are saying even the ADC, you know, regardless of the fact that they have the big wigs, the likes of Atiku, Amechi, El-Rufai, David Mark, Aregbe, they don't even have what it takes to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, okay, so to unseat a Nigerian president, you need a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do. You can ask Tinubu and Buhari. Well, for me, I would say the coalition between Tinubu and Buhari that time, or rather, let me say, should I use the word collaboration or partnership? I can't pick the partnership. You should use partnership.
Yes,
okay.
partnership.
The partnership between Tinubu and Buhari that time was able to unseat Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, because these were two strong forces coming from two different parts of the nation. One from the north, one from the west. You get, and then they unsat is that English correct? An Easterner or somebody from the south. Yeah, fine, good, no problem. But that partnership was strong enough, and there are not too many people involved. I mean, there are not too many big wigs, all right, then, big wings then.
Do you mean the coalition of 2013, 2014? I think we have quite a number of big wigs.
Atiku now.
Okay.
It was only Atiku.
Are you talking about the APC coalition of 2020?
When Buhari was coming from, he came with CPC.
Exactly, that's
and then
a lot.
Tinubu came with, I think, ACN or so. So they became APC, all right? Fine. We do not have other big wigs around then, unlike now. You are still not getting what I'm trying to say.
I get you, but
I still don't agree
with you.
Okay, hold on. After Atiku, follow me.
Okay.
After Atiku now, then after Atiku, Buhari is contesting. Tinubu is not contesting. Buhari is contesting. Atiku is contesting. Jonathan is already sitting. All right. We want to unseat this guy. How many people do we have then that wanted to contest? That was contesting for presidency? We didn't have much.
I think it was a kind of agreement between them.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I really do not agree with you that there were no big wigs in
let's not
in the
stay
coalition.
too long on
Okay.
that. Now, this coalition now, this is where I'm going exactly.
Okay.
The big wigs now, if they play their card well, of course, Tinubu is but another human that can be. Yes. And if they do not play their card well, Tinubu will beat them.
Okay, speaking of playing the card well, who do you think is the best person to run for ADC, really?
Really? Just to let us know how irrelevant the party is, how weak the party is, really, I have no list of names like that. So there is so much work they need to do. I can come up from my head names.
Okay, we have Atiku,
really?
we have Amechi, and of course we have El-Rufai.
Okay.
So,
is it that's the APC?
No, I'm talking about the coalition.
Or the coalition?
APC, the coalition.
Sorry.
Okay.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah. What I would think is this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let him speak about it.
There is so much they can achieve, and with those type of big wigs in the coalition, so much they can achieve. When you said ADC, what came to mind? I thought it was this party that this man was from.
Labour Party.
No, not Labour Party. This party.
NNPP.
No, not NNPP.
STP.
Shobore was from that party. That yes. So that was the mixed up there.
Okay.
So
that party is.
Yeah, it does actually.
It still exists. It still exists. So there is so much they can go because they have the relevance, they have the resources, money to pull through, and but then what do the people stand to gain? Because I'm someone who's, when it comes to all this political game and all, what do the people stand to gain? Will people be at the center of these fights or games that they are playing? It's a rhetorical question, really.
I think they've come out to say that they want to make the lives of Nigerians better because according to Amici, he said Nigerians are suffering as poverty in the land.
Is there any president that doesn't have that line as his,
okay, let me turn to Victor. Would you say as the best person for EDC, really?
Okay, from that coalition now.
Yeah.
What I'll say first, two things. One, I keep mentioning two things.
Okay.
Anyway, so one first is let all of them register. All of them haven't registered, right? Let all of them register as a proper member of the ADC party. Let's conduct a primary election. Tinubu, I'm sorry, Atiku buy tickets. Aregbe is not contesting.
It's not. I don't think so.
What's his name? This guy that Labour gave 30 years, whatever.
Rufai
looks like he wants to contest, or maybe running mate with someone. I don't know.
Okay.
But anybody that has interest in contesting, including Obi, if Obi will run from ADC, let all of them buy ticket. 40 people buy ticket. So let's go to primaries. Then let's produce a presidential candidate. That's number one. Number two. Let all of these people, let them stop being selfish and greedy. Yes, an average Nigerian politician is selfish and greedy, but then they should tune it down. I mean, very, very they should tune it out very, very well. Let them work as a team. All right?
Okay.
Let them not do, I have my team at the side, that whether they give me ticket or not, I have a team that will work with me. You getting that gist? Now, it has happened before severally in Nigeria, even in state level, where a governor, I don't want to mention him, I'm giving you facts, where a governor would not be given a ticket in a party, and he would deflect, and because he has a team that would work with him, he would deflect that party, go to another party, relying on his team, all right, that are not part of the party, all right? So you get that gist, don't let me go too far. So I'm saying they should work as a team. El-Rufai work with Aregbe, these are big names, you know. Work with Aregbe, work with Amechi, work with Atiku.
You don't think it's high time, Atiku step down? I mean, from this race.
Why should he?
And become an elder statesman?
Why should he step down? Can you give me a very strong reason?
I mean, I'm just
Atiku
asking you.
can't step down.
Okay, why do you think so?
He's, like I said before, he wants to be relevant in the Nigeria's political space. He will not step down, and it's kind of sabotage. It's sabotaging to us Nigerians as long as he stays in the political game, because the votes in the north will remain divided. As long as he's in the race, he will always have his own votes. And whoever will be coming from the northern part of Nigeria as a presidential candidate will have someone from there like Atiku to contend with. So the same thing happened during Tinubu's 2023
elections.
Where, yes, he represented. Can you remind me the party?
PDP.
No, PDP. No.
PDP, yes.
Yes.
PDP, and he got a lot of votes. And
6.5.
yeah, 6.5. That's a lot. If we had that to that of Obi, that's like Obi could have won. There was a lot that happened really.
Okay.
I don't want to open. I don't want to open the whole thing here. So he, being in the race, will divide votes coming from the north, and of course we are aware it's Nigeria, election rigging, so he will divide the votes coming from the north, and he's also a businessman. So anybody who gets into the presidential office has presidential power, unlimited presidential power to make a business and unmake it. So this is the critical reason why politicians, many of them who have businesses which they established with public funds, of course, they want to stay in the game. So someone doesn't just come from somewhere, occupies the presidential seat, which is the most powerful seat in the country, and then unmake whatever revenue or you think of it, resources they've been able to acquire. Just one policy can change your life, take them from that height down. So that is why they always want to stay in the game. And they never have a permanent side. They go to this one, it seems this one is going to be relevant. They see metrics that, this person is going to be, then they come to you, and so it's more like, you are the one reigning now. Let me work with you. It's you now. Let me work with you. That's it. And so the man will not step down. Maybe he could say, okay, I'm not contesting, but that he steps out completely, no, I don't think so. He always wants to position himself for opportunities.
Okay.
So no.
All right, let me turn to Victor, because there have been speculations that, as it is now, Peter Obi might actually go back to PDP, because it's looking like Atiku will want to be the flag bearer of the ADC, and then he has the resources, to actually, get that. So because of that, Peter Obi, just like what he did before the 2023 elections, he might still leave the Labour Party and go to the PDP if he's certain that he's going to get the ticket. So will this not be a repeat of the 2023, where a lot of persons felt if these two, came together or decided to, pool their votes, together, they could have won the election and, take over power from the APC?
Okay, so this Obi thing always disturbs my brain. My question is, from any party that Obi chooses to go, can he beat Atiku? Can he win Atiku? Leave other persons, leave Tinubu. Let's say we don't have Tinubu on the picture. We only have Atiku and Obi.
Okay.
Just 2. It's not possible. But let's just say we have 2 presidential candidates. Does Obi think he can beat Atiku?
I mean, people have said that he has a lot of supporters, and he tried the first time. This is the second time.
Did he beat him in the
A
first
miracle can happen.
Miracle in politics?
No, this is
Miracle
politics.
doesn't happen in Nigerian politics.
Okay.
Nigerian politics is calculation.
Okay.
Yes,
But what about
that's true.
surprises? You might
Surprises
not call
doesn't
it
happen in
miracle.
Nigerian election. This is it. 3 things happen in Nigerian election. Number 1, you can forecast, and you will get it. You can predict, and your prediction may, even if it won't work out, maybe slightly.
Okay.
Surprises doesn't come in Nigeria. It doesn't happen. Miracles doesn't happen in Nigerian election. We know Tinubu will win. He won. Or rather, we forecasted that he has a higher hand or higher ground than others, and it came out so. We forecasted that a lot of people that are shouting Obi, 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 Obi don't have voters card. We realized that plenty of them didn't have. They voted on Twitter, on X.
Well,
I mean,
I disagree with that, though.
Okay, fine. I will not go too far on that. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Obi has a lot of supporters. Yes, truth be told, he has a lot of supporters. But here's the thing: how many of his supporters would go out there to vote? Okay, so we don't want to talk about that. So
I want to
I'm
challenge
coming.
you there.
So
Okay.
I'm sorry. So I'm saying you will come back there, please.
Okay.
But what I want to establish is this: right now, I do not support anybody. I support a good governance. Right now, good governance. All right. So
There used to be a time that I used to support Atiku.
I used to.
Okay.
But now I want good governance. Good governance. All right. So if can Atiku from any party, don't go to Labour, don't go to PDP, establish your own party. Let's see. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Come from Dominion Party. All right. Can you beat Atiku? That's the question. If you can beat Atiku, fine. Leave ABC, dump their coalition, go anywhere, buy Chowore party, pick tickets.
It's not that easy because
I'm saying if he can beat Atiku, if he has the supporters that can help him beat Atiku, the question will not be which party. The thing will be go to any party, contest against Atiku and win. That's the thing for me. But if you cannot beat Atiku, whether from ADC, from APC, from LP, from PDP, from KKP, from TTP,
that's serious.
step down for your boss.
Okay, you don't agree? He submitted that most of the supporters of Labour Party, they don't vote, they vote on Twitter. Do you agree?
That is
Sorry,
that.
last election,
That is-
all
that
of
is-
us were just shouting, Obi,
that
Obi,
is-
Obi,
that
Obi,
is-
Obi.
Were you part of them that were shouting
I
Obi,
didn't
Obi,
shout
Obi?
Obi. I'm not an Obi.
Okay.
Wait, that is insulting to the Obi movement.
Okay,
I
sorry.
may come off as
Apologies.
I may come off as the microphone of the movement, but then they voted.
Okay.
Maybe not all of them.
Okay.
They voted.
Okay.
So there's a lot that went into the movement, and this other thing I would like to say is that Obi could have created a party, political party,
Okay.
immediately after he in quote lost.
In quotes?
Yes, in my opinion, there was a lot more that happened.
Yeah.
So let's not open up that
Yeah.
now. So he could have created a new political party and okay, people, let's support me in this. But then, there's a lot of work that a political party building,
Exactly.
because it's more like, okay, you want to start new, all right, the obedience will come, but then at the grassroots,
Party structures.
party structure, right there at the grassroots, who are you going to mount right there at the grassroots across all levels? So it requires a lot of building, as if you're starting from the scratch, in spite of the fact that he had a lot of people, youth following him. But it's a lot of work. And so what should you do? You work with people who are the people you do not like. Because
Okay.
I want to think that Obi, left to himself, he wouldn't have been part of this coalition if he found alternatives
Did they
aside from
invite
these
him?
people.
Okay.
He wasn't invited. He went by himself.
Okay, speaking of the creating a new political party,
Yes,
I just want to say something there.
Okay.
It requires a lot of resources.
Yes.
And then looking at the Peter Obi, I don't know, he has been ascribed with this slogan, we know they drop shishi. Though we've seen him, contribute to certain
Yes,
things.
that's
So
true,
what do you
that's
make of that? Somebody who is not really ready to actually spend anyhow. I mean, he does, meaningful spending. He will not just spend anyhow. When it comes to creating a new political party, that's a lot of money.
Yes, yes, it's a lot of work and a lot of money, and the man Peter Obi has been stingy. Yes.
You will speak on that. Okay.
Yeah, they called him stingy man. No. So he donates meaningfully to
things
that will impact lives, and the evidence is there online, and so it's Nigeria. It's Nigeria. So if to where they sell the
local
market women, the people right down the street, there's hunger in the land. There's hunger in the land, and there is so much struggles our people are going through, and it won't be through. So Peter Obi won't appeal to people like that because they don't have, not that they can't think, but they are incapacitated to see beyond their needs. So Peter Obi, if I had a chance to vote between Peter Obi, of course. Peter Obi.
To vote Peter Obi?
Yes, it's there. It's there that this person is, donates meaningfully, and all the loopholes, all the holes that money will be going through, this man would, in my opinion, would block it, and that is what the politicians don't want. They want someone who is there, all the loopholes open, money flowing freely, they're living large, but what about the people? So so the man is not perfect. I understand that he was he had been part of he had been a member of PDP before the whole thing that happened in 2023.
Okay.
Yes. So it's a lot of work, the grassroots, and he realized that he has to work with people who normally wouldn't have wanted to work with, and that is what Nigeria does. It forces you to work with, in quote, enemies, and they know that he doesn't like them as much.
Are there enemies in politics?
So in terms of values and in terms of values.
Let me turn to Victor just before we leave. Do you think because he does not spend anyhow, and then looking at the way politics has been done in the country, especially when it comes to primaries, is always a tough one. Sometimes it's about how much you can offer the highest bidder, according to what some top politicians in these political parties have come out to say. I think Dele Momodu, in an interview recently, said that Atiku was able to pay higher than what he had to offer, and that was why he was able to get, the candidates, exactly, the tickets to run. So don't you think that is part of what is actually affecting Obi's political stance sometimes, really? The fact that he really cannot spend as others will spend when it comes to politics, playing politics, in the country.
My friend has said it. So I do not believe he's stingy. I just believe he's sensible when he's spending. Yes, but unfortunately that won't work in the Nigerian political space. You have to spend money. So now, even if he has to bend that policy of spending wisely, does he even have the money like others do? That's the question now. Does Obi have the money Atiku has? Does Obi have the money whoever has to even if you will bend that policy, all right? Does he have the money? So that's the thing.
And to add to what he said, I think there was this information that came out about the worth of Atiku's his net worth. If I'm right, please correct me. 3 trillion, I guess.
Atiku has money even before he came into politics. Don't forget that he was a business. He's been a business.
But after his tenure with Obasanjo wrote a book, and he said a lot of things in the book. I think The Watch.
That's
the book.
My question to Obasanjo himself, Baba, respect, sir. Was it not under his watch? Was it not under his nose that Atiku was doing all of that? That doesn't. There's no time this topic, this what you said. There's no time that topic comes out that it makes sense to me. Your
Really?
vice, your direct vice, under your watch, under your nose, he's doing all of those. You didn't say anything. You didn't do anything. Then after both of you have left office, you now start saying it. It doesn't make any sense.
The president
to me.
cannot be everywhere, and don't also forget that some things might not be so clear to you.
So how
It
does he
might be
now
other way.
know when he left the office that he embezzled under my?
Okay.
What's that?
I think he must have been aware, because as president of the country, you're occupying the most powerful office in the country, and you have intelligence services at your disposal. So they will tell you, as if you want to spy on anybody in the country, the intelligence services are there at your disposal. And wait,
there's no how you will know.
please. So he was aware. He was aware, and he couldn't have done anything while still occupying the seat. Why? Because the VP then, Atiku, was there as a placeholder, like representing which interest? Northern interest. And he couldn't, there was nothing he could have done. Can't remove an elected, because the man was elected alongside him. So
They were still in power.
Yes. So there was nothing he could have done right there. Because if he had done anything to attack Atiku's, in the northern elite would take it as an attack.
Okay.
So anywhere a northerner is, any of the high offices, it's there for northern interest. So I understand that if we should carry out deep investigation into where the money or where it went, you'll be surprised that a lot of it went to northern interest.
Interesting conversation. I would have loved us to continue, definitely, because there's something to say. But then the conversation will definitely continue on this matter, because a lot of persons feel like, part of the things that was written in that book, dehumanized, or let me say, acted badly or is bad on his reputation. I'm speaking of Atiku now, but then it is what it is, and just like a lot of persons will see, and then of course we look forward to a time that will come back to this discussion and then unpack some of the issues. However, I want to say a big thank you to Bolawa DB, historian, researcher, and writer, for coming on board, and of course to Victor Akile, who is a political scientist and of course an entrepreneur, someone doing very great and in the political scene. Thank you for being a part of the show this morning. All right, it's time to say our BYE. My name remains Oluwayemi Adelako. It's time for Big Story. Please stay with us.
Ever dreamed of creating the next viral series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV. Make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Ever dreamed of creating the next viral series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV, make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, and of course, this is the big story. Your gateway to deep conversations, fearless analysis, and uncomfortable truths. Today, we unpack a theme that sits at the heart of Nigeria's persistent challenges, leadership failure, and the silent but significant role of followers. I am Samson Balogun. Thank you for joining us. For decades, Nigeria has wrestled with leadership that often falls short of vision, accountability, and transformative impact. We have seen missed opportunities, recycled incompetence, and repeated national disappointments. But here's the twist. Do followers have a role in this failure? This is a question we'll ask this morning. Across the globe, citizens shape the tone of governance through sustained civic engagement, policy advocacy, electoral choices, and refusal to normalize mediocrity. In contrast, many Nigerians retreat into silence, ethnic bias, religious bigotry, political apathy, or even worse, blind loyalty. Is our leadership crisis purely a problem of those at the top, or a reflection of what we permit at the grassroots? How do other countries hold their leaders to account? And what can we learn from those systems where leadership is truly servant-driven? Of course, on this edition of The Big Story, we dive into the Nigerian paradox, a nation full of brilliant minds, yet stuck in cycles of underperformance, and compare it to global models of leadership follower synergy that drive progress. This is what we have to discuss on the show this morning. And thank you for joining us. Do not forget to keep the conversation going. Link up with us on all socials at Dominion Broadcast. Watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. I will not be doing this alone this morning. I have a special guest, and with him we'll be making sense of how leadership has failed Africans, Nigerians in general, and what we have to dissect this morning really touches the heart of every Nigerian out there. Good morning to you, Samuel Woko.
Good morning, viewers. You're welcome to The Big Story.
Samuel Woko is the editor of the Nigerian Tribune, and with him we'll be making sense of this particular topic this morning.
Yes.
Now, in the Nigerian context,
Deputy editor.
Deputy editor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In your view, what defines leadership failure, especially in the Nigerian context?
In simple terms, leadership failure is what is written all over us, written all around us. Leadership failure is failure of provision of electricity. Leadership failure is failure in infrastructure. Leadership failure is failure in creating those enabling environments for various kinds of businesses to thrive. Leadership failure is not being able to galvanize the people to show patriotism and do those things that would help the country in moving beyond where it is at the present. So leadership failure encompasses all the things that have brought us to where we are today as a country. So leadership failure, as far as I'm concerned, is just that which is staring us in the face, the poor metrics, the poor statistics that are, you know, the poverty capital stuff, the illiteracy level and all those things, all of them define leadership failure in their own various ways. So leadership failure, when you encompass it, when you take it as a whole, is the failure of the country to rise to its potentials.
Is it bad leadership, or weak followership, or dogmatic followership, as you put it?
I think it's bad leadership because it starts from there. The leadership will define what the followership will be. If you have a good leader, isn't
it meant to be the other way around?
No.
They were once followers before they became leaders.
Yes. If we are a good follower, it's because you had a good leader who was able to galvanize. I remember some of the things that we read about Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So, some of his acolytes, some of his close associates who smoked and womanized and so on, because those regular human things. When you are coming to a meeting with Chief Awolowo, some of them wrote that they will keep their girlfriends in another town before they go to have a meeting with Chief Awolowo. That's because you know who your leader is and you know the kind of things that fill into the framework he has created. So for me, it boils down to leadership. It is the leadership that will create the kind of followership. And when it trickles down, they say, they do it also, so nothing will happen. And that we saw at the very the outset of the Buhari administration. When he came in, everybody remember what they called body language. Body language was because they knew him as a tough military leader at that time, and they knew that he broached or he didn't condone any kind of misdemeanor. So people watched to see if it is the Buhari of the military or a different Buhari. And when they saw that it was a different Buhari, everything went back to factory setting. That's poor leadership. So if he had put his feet on the ground and said, look, no, this is, and you punish the misbehavior, that would have given us. So it all boils down to leadership. When the leader is firm and says no to what some of the followers are, you know, showing him, if he says no to that and they see that he is not doing it himself, then I'm sure everything will change.
How did we get here? And moreover, isn't this beyond just one person?
It is. It is beyond one person. It is everybody's thing. You see, as it is now, we are trying to return we are turning the table. We are saying, okay, leadership has failed, let's try followership. But it won't work that way. When you know that the leaders themselves will also ruin whatever the followers are trying to do. I look at what, it may be crude, it may be described in various ways, but followership wanted to take the lead in the NSAS. They wanted to say, look, we don't want this anymore. These are the terms we want and so on. But it was crude, it wasn't defined, it had no direction and so on. But they had something in mind. What they had in mind was, okay, we don't want this type of leadership. We don't want this type of policing. We don't want our leaders to condone these kind of things. The followership tried to do it, but leadership quelled it. You know, there was no time they sat together after once to say, okay, we are going to, even when they sat together and made agreements and the president then addressed the nation, everything was still as if nothing had happened. And that led to how the NSAS attempt by followers to take the lead ended. So it is both ways.
Why do we keep recycling the same set of leaders?
Unfortunately,
those who have failed, they still come back. They are recycled. Yes. Once a governor, then a senator, a minister, eventually, most likely, will become a president. They are still the same set of people. When will it change?
See, now, there are two ways to look at it. The first is that before now, I know that there used to be a tax system that was enforced in such a way that people knew that they had to pay certain taxes and levies. And the leadership was very strong in doing that. I remember Wike, the same Wike, when he was the local government chairman in Obiakpo in Rivers State, there is something called Obiakpo boys, or in other words, Wike boys. They would enforce that you conform to the rules set by the local government. And that time, local government was still local government. It is not what we have now, when local governments are no longer local governments. Now, leadership there created the atmosphere for you to behave in certain ways. That is how it is when you leave this country. That is how it is when you are driving outside this country and your convoy will not be bullying people off the road. It doesn't happen when our leaders go outside this country. When they go out, they see things as they are. They see that you conform to rules, you obey traffic rules, you obey simple rules. You don't even make noise in your neighborhood. You don't play loud music and so many other things. But when you come back to this country, you feel, okay, I'm above the law, and you do whatever you like. And when you do that, the laws which are supposed to keep you in check, you manipulate the law with certain people supporting your manipulation of the law. So that now made it to spread. So I'm saying it is two ways, because the leaders will do things and wish that the followers do not do them. It doesn't work that way. So it is the leaders who have influenced the followers, and by creating that influence, they have made the followers to go haywire. And that is why you have, if you drive on the streets, you know what I'm talking about. There are no rules. I know rules and no bounds. You can do it anyhow. That's what Bob Marley sang. That's what it is. There are no rules. There are no bounds. You can do it anyhow. And that's because the leaders condone those kind of things. There is no punishment for misdemeanor, and there is no reprimand for misbehavior. So it's like that.
Now, let me take this. Since independence in the year 1960, Nigeria struggled with a leadership crisis marked by corruption, poor governance, impunity, and an absence of a visionary direction. The nation's potential has consistently been undermined by the leaders who failed to prioritize national interest over personal and sectional gains. Now, we have had different regimes, administrations. It has always been the same. Post-independence civilian era, 1960 to 1966, it was marked by a lot of maladministration. That was during the era of Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa and regional premiers. Issues of ethnic politics, electoral malpractices in the western region, northern region, and corruption weakened the First Republic at the time. And the result was that the military intervened, citing leadership failure and mismanagement at the time. Now let's talk about the military rule and authoritarianism. Nigeria was largely under military rule for nearly 30 years, and this era entrenched several deep-rooted leadership problems. Military coups were justified as rescue missions, but often led to worse corruption, suppression of rights, and misrule. Do not forget that till today, Abacha still sends us money from wherever. From
heaven.
He still sends money. Nigeria receives a lot. Away from there, General Ibrahim Babangida, 1985 to 1993, he institutionalized the corruption, annulled the June 12, 1993 election, considered the freest in the Nigerian history. And then comes General Sani Abacha in 1993. I just spoke about him. Notoriously corrupt and repressive, billions stolen from national coffers. Still today, his family will say he did not steal Nigeria's money. Even to a point, the late president, former president Muhammadu Buhari would say Abacha was not corrupt. Well, whatever happens with that we still get alert from wherever he keeps our money. We are still keeping our fingers crossed. Maybe someday, someone will come out and say it openly, that he stole the money. Do not forget that the return of democracy during the Olusegun Obasanjo era, that was 1999 to 2007, same happened. Billions of naira was spent on electricity. Till today, Nigerians are still struggling with electricity. Most Nigerian men who are hardworking have now become Okada riders. They are now Marwa riders. They are out there in the sun, hustling. If they had electricity, constant electricity, probably they would be doing their business the way it should be.
Sure, I agree with that.
But these are the challenges we are facing. Every now and then we spend money on things that will not see results. What's the problem?
Now, You see, you have taken a whole lot of things into one long sentence. Now, let me even look at it this way. When the first coup took place, it was blamed on poor leadership. When the second coup took place, it was also blamed.
Rescue mission, they call it.
They always come on a rescue mission. When Buhari came, I was in primary 6. That's 1983. 31st December 1980. We were on holiday when they announced the coup. And my uncle, he cried. He said, oh, these people have come again. It was during, we knew of Shagari. I was in Old Imo State. And he said, this man will set us back again, that we are trying to. I didn't understand all those things. Now, Buhari came. And by January 1, 1984, you know, of course, he had become the president, the head of state, they called it. I joined the Y Brigade as a Form 1 student. I never began GS1 that time. I joined the Y Brigade as Form 1 student, and we were willing to do things as we were told. But soon after, everybody began to, even our teachers began, our teachers in school began to complain. Some would not come to class. My own school fees came late because my parents were in Ibadan. I was in Umuahia. My school fees came late. The principal called me and said, your people have not sent your school fees, and so on and so forth. I said, it's very unusual. How much was the school fees? I think it was 26 naira or so. So I had to use the principal's phone to call my elder brother and said, this is what the principal... He told me that things were bad and that inflation... You know, he just generally complained. I didn't understand. My own was bring money. So by the time I got to Form 2, the next year, there was a coup. I was on holiday in Ibadan. I was going from my native Samanda. I was going to UI. I was going to Agbo. We had a football match, this boys' club thing. We were walking on our way. As we got to Orita UI, just before the shopping complex, we saw people jubilating. We now said, what happened? They said they have overthrown Buhari. We said, joined, we began to jubilate and so on. I didn't understand, but at least I knew that my father would stop complaining and my brothers would send me my school fees. Bad leadership. And later, when we grew up to read what was happening, we saw that I know that we were queuing. We go on a queue to buy sugar. They called it essential commodities. You didn't have rice in such quantity. If I get as rice go plenty for your house, they go arrest you. That time. You had to queue. That one I loved. There was no rush at the bus stops. When you get to the bus stop, everybody will queue. That was when I learned the word queue. So that was Buhari. That I witnessed. That I experienced. But when IBB came, people jubilated and said, hey, August 27, 1985, around that time, we were on holiday. All I'm trying to say is that each leadership comes with a promise. And by the time they run into the administration and run into a certain term, it becomes a problem. Now, by then, they would have influenced followers. How do they influence followers? Some would, you spoke about blind followership in your intro. Blind followership is, you know it, I know it. People who take whatever their leaders do and try to justify it and try to explain it, whether it is justifiable or not. Now, when each leader comes, they will take the certain level of people. Fela sang about it. They will take some mumu chief, make them millionaire. They go begin explain and they go speak big English for newspaper. Take Dabaru, we Africans. They will come create their own kind of followership, and that followership will give us
start multiplying.
So that has been the thing in and out of government.
Samuel, have you heard of data boys?
I've heard of data boys.
They are online.
They
bully everyone inside out.
They are everywhere.
They are defending their paymasters.
So data boys is a followership, blind followership. At worst, I know some so-called data boys. What they do sometimes when they can't help it is they keep quiet. They will say, no. They will keep quiet. I know some that will say, Egmon, you get as things view, and so on and so forth. That is also a kind of followership. That now goes back to leadership. If your leader is a thief, you will not have any cause to justify not being one. Because, except perhaps if you choose not to be. If you choose not to be, that means that you are not completely towing the line of your leader. And when he finds out that you are doing certain things that in fact, the question they will say is, she won economy, not only you, it is say we know Sabi, that kind of thing. You become a pariah in that circle. They will single you out. So leadership, everything to me boils down to leadership. And leadership is you enforce, because people, you enforce what you want. You make it, you stand firm on principles. That's why Awolowo stood out. That's why. That's why they still talk about him till today. Everybody knows that our leader will not take bribe. Our leader is working for the interest of the people. Our leader is doing it so as to grow the people. So if you do not fit into that frame, in the Kagais Club, we say there is no dual belongation. You either belong in or you belong out. If you don't belong to that ideology, please go out and they will be watching you. So leadership is everything as far as I'm concerned. When you elect a leader from within, among the people, that leader will continue from what his own leaders are doing. I once spoke with a political leader in Osun. When local governments were local governments, he said, a financier said, these two local government chairmen that want to contest, I will write a check for their campaign expenses and everything and give it to you, the political leader. He said, when I collected the check, all of us, we thanked him and said, thank you very much and so on. When they got back home, he called the two contestants and said, this money belongs to you. Take your checks. He endorsed the checks because they were written in his name. Take your checks. Go and collect your money. Spend your money the way you want it, but spend it wisely. That is one political leader. If it were some other political leaders, you say, he will pay the money into his own account and he will be dishing it out as he wants. When that local government chairman becomes a local government chairman, he will say, this man was supposed to give me 5 naira, but he gave me 350. If he's supposed to give me 5,000, he gave me 3.5. He's supposed to give me 5 million, he gave me 3.5. So that my 1.5. And the political leader will not have any justification to query him because he will tell him, she better not know me. So that is leadership. By that, he had set them on the path to integrity and say, that is your money, spend it wisely.
Have we weaponized
poverty,
religion? Have we weaponized ethnicity? And then, have we weaponized poverty in Nigeria?
Yes. One word answer. And I think it got worse beginning from 2015.
Because on a good day, you will hear in Nigeria, and if someone is underperforming, and let's say an Igbo man is underperforming, and the Yoruba man says, why is he underperforming? You will be like, is it because he's not Yoruba? And then if an Hausa man is underperforming, and an Igbo man says, he's not doing so well, and you will be like, is it because he's not from your tribe? And then when they talk about a Christian, the Muslim will say, is it because he's not a Muslim? Or is it because he's not a Christian? How badly is this going to set us back as a country?
These things, these topics, these issues, these points have already set us back so many years. It's so bad that we look at everything now from the point of view of ethnicity, religion, and what's the third one? Poverty. But poverty is a thing of the mind.
Stand alone. That one is
poverty is out of it. But ethnicity and religion, they have been so amplified that it has become two distinct problems on their own. And as it is now, it will take us... I once wrote in my column that, look, the thing where ethnicity and religion has cost, it will take us a whole number of, in fact, nearly a generation to be able to undo it. Because now, yesterday I was in a WhatsApp platform where they were discussing the Super Falcons. And before you knew it, the issue descended into ethnicity and religion.
How many Yorubas are in the team?
I felt, oh God.
You will see an AFCON team and they will say, oh,
you know,
it's only Ahmed Musa that's an Hausa man in the team.
And how did it come about? Somebody just said, somebody said, if Super Falcons were using, if Super Falcons had been selected with quota system, say this may not have happened. And that triggered it. Now, it was an innocent statement by my own reckoning. I never contribute when things like that. I will just be reading. Somebody said, if it was quota system they used, this may not have happened. He said, but now there was no quota system. They selected the team on merit, and here we are. And somebody now said, yes, like Super Eagles. This is what is killing Super Eagles. Quota system. Somebody said, is there a quota system in the Super Eagles? They say, yes, now you don't know. They say it's even soft too. Look at the coaching, this, and they will have to select from
origin.
From regions and so on. And I was just like, oh no. Here we go again. So, ethnicity, religion, two different, distinct, big problems. And by my own estimation, we've always had it. Fela sang about it in 79. He go say, we are Muslims, they in charge, they go use one big allergy, na him be director. We are Christians, they reign, na best friend to bishop, na him be director. You know? He sang it. And he sang it when we were children, or maybe we are just toddlers, in the early 70s or thereabout. So it is not be today, but it became more pronounced from 2015, just about 10 years ago. And that was when people began to say, this man, everybody read about it that time now. This man, they said Buhari was appointing only people from his
appointments were lopsided.
Yeah, lopsided.
So who is facing the same now? They say he's just appointing Christians just because he wants to balance things up.
Well, when Buhari's own started, the explanation was that he's selecting people who will best work with him. Tinubu came, they say he's selecting people who will best work with him. When you look at all these things, you see that there is a problem. And that problem is not something we can solve with a snap of the fingers. It is not going to work that way. So, ethnicity, religion, poverty have been weaponized. And poverty has been weaponized long before now. The few people who tried to bring us out of poverty are no longer around. So what we now have are people who just give us fish. They no longer teach how to fish. Your lawmaker will come and say, I'm doing empowerment. I'm training people in computer. I'm training people in sewing. I'm training people in... But the business environment is not even helping. So maybe now some are beginning to have a rethink and say, okay, let us do this. But hey, how much will that do? Going into the number of problems that have been created. It's a very large issue. It's a very big issue. It's a very blinding light that is there.
Now, let's talk about the practical steps that citizens can take to hold leaders accountable in this dispensation. It's a new generation. Times have changed. Things have evolved. What exactly can citizens do to make sure leaders are accountable?
Citizens, I would have said, will elect leaders they know will give us the kind of leadership we want. But the foundation, you know, the Bible even says so. When the foundation is warped, what can the righteous do? When the foundation is bad, what do you want to do? So the foundation is a very big problem. But how do we even start? We are in a cul-de-sac, I want to believe. And somehow, I don't want to I don't want to say now God will save us, but at the same time it's still God that will help us, because as things stand, we don't have, see, when Tinubu is done his 8 years, or as God wants it, when Tinubu is done, who will be the rallying point in the southwest? There is no rallying point in the southeast. All the rallying points in the north have been
depleted.
There are no rallying points anymore. So look at Nigeria. I'm looking at Nigeria in the next 10 years. I've been wondering what it would be like. I've been wondering what direction we'll be going. Personally, I've been ruminating on this. I've been like, okay, when Tinubu has done his 8 years, what next? Who is that person you say, only, Naim be this? Is he grooming anybody? Maybe. But have you seen anything like that? Look at the antecedents. The kind of things you want to see your leader have. Those things that you say, yes, I want to. You see, when Nnamdi Azikiwe came back from the US after his studies, Awolowo said, I want to go and study and be like this man. And he went and did that and took up the leadership. Meanwhile, his own leader, his own role model is Jawaharlal Nehru. He said that this man, in fact, if you go to his house, the Nehru picture there in house, in the living room of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you see it. And when you ask, he will tell you, that's the man I want to, I'm modeling my life after. You know, but how did he think he would get to that level? It's by behaving like those people, getting your education, and so on and so forth. Who is that person? Who are those people? So in the next few years, I don't know what will happen. By the time you get to my age, and by the time I get to the age of people we are looking at now, I don't know. I really don't know. And I'm afraid maybe, you see, God works in mysterious ways, and I'm sure he's going to step into our affairs. This country.
Eventually.
Okay,
yes. Now, let me ask you this very quickly before we go. What would you say to Nigerians who feel powerless and disillusioned by repeated leadership failures in this country?
We will keep hope alive, me. We will just have to keep hope alive. You know, some of us
aren't people tired of being hopeful?
Well, you can't be tired of being hopeful. You see, if you can't be tired of being hopeful...
Who have had so many promises.
You can't be tired of being hopeful because you want to go to heaven when you die. And what does that mean? You have to be hopeful. You have to work towards it. You know, if that is the goal, then find ways to achieve that goal. So we should not, as followers, lose hope. Let me even put it this way. If we want the kind of leaders that will give us what we want, then we have to know from among ourselves. You know, we have to stop somebody made a quote. He said, stop electing idiots. You know, so we have to stop electing people who do not fit into our political thinking. But how do you do that? Because whoever you are electing is also coming from you. And people turn. Hitler did not start out as a dictator. People turn, people change. You know. So how do you determine that? First, you have to at least play your own role of saying, no, this person has integrity, this person has the qualities, let me elect him. From there, you now watch. And see, the constitution and the laws, we have enough laws, we have enough in the constitution, we have enough policies and so on. Just make the policies we have work. For over 1 year now, there has been a Supreme Court judgment on local governments. It's not working because the law is neither here nor there. The law is even confusing. So we should work towards things that we know are straightforward. You know, let's choose a straight path and follow it. These things are already there for us. It's just for us to key into some of these things and make our country work for us. But how do we start? We start by electing the best among us, and we encourage that best among us to lead us properly.
All right, Sam Woko, thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very insightful conversation with you.
Thank you.
And we do hope that you'll be here next time to discuss something more pressing. All right, we say very big thank you for being a part of the show so far. This is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. Sam Woko has been my guest, and he is the deputy editor of the Nigerian Tribune.
Thank you.
All right, leadership is not just about who holds office. It is about what people demand, tolerate, and defend. If we must break free from the grip of misrule, followers must rise to the responsibility of citizenship, informed, active, and unyielding in the face of incompetence. Around the world, nations thrive when citizens lead with values and leaders are held to a high standard. Nigeria cannot be an exception unless we choose to be. Thank you for being a part of the big story today. Let the conversation continue, not just in words, but in action. Samson Balogun is my name.
Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV. Make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Now we go straight to Trend Watch this morning, and then we have something really interesting to talk about. And the candidate of the Labour Party in the last election, Peter Obi, former governor of Alambra State, is in the news, and he has something really interesting to say, and that will be dissecting this morning. Yemi Adelakun is here with her. We'll be making sense of this particular story.
Exactly. I'm glad to be back here this morning.
Interesting. And, you know, you saw what Peter Obi said. He said, we can't eat fake statistics. Peter Obi tells President Tinubu.
Exactly. And then he made reference to 2022. He said in November 2022, while campaigning in Delta State, the then APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, now the president, berated other presidential candidates. You know, he was ashamed to call his name, saying, nah, statistics we go chop. All I want is to put food on the table of Nigerians. And of course, he has also said that now 2 years into his 4 years, tenure, Nigeria is classified as one of the hungriest nations in the world, with millions of Nigerians not knowing where their next meal will come from.
Well, I think to an extent, not too many Nigerians understand statistics. So if you are telling them about GDP,
some don't even like it.
If you are telling them about how many billions you have borrowed or how much you have spent on infrastructure, they really do not care. They just want to be able to feed. But hey, this, the economic downturn is not limited to Nigeria alone, not just Nigeria, it is around the world. If you go to India, even in the United Kingdom, people are crying out, they are crying for that things are being more expensive than they used to be. So it's not just about Nigeria. The only difference, or the thing I see, is the fact that the exchange rate is the distance is way too much. I think it's around 1,500 plus now to $1. I mean, if that can be adjusted one way or the other to where it used to be, probably 116 naira to $1, I think things will be a lot more better.
I think it won't happen by miracle. I think it can be adjusted, and it will depend on some policies that will be put in place.
I think one of the mistakes was to float, you know,
exactly.
the Naira, and then, you know, a lot actually happened. But the thing is, the fact that the dollar, the price has to be determined by, you know, what is happening in the market, and then the government has tried as much as possible to float it. I think that's created a challenge in one way or the other. But then it can be adjusted. Things can be corrected. Just that I do not know why the government has chosen to, you know, face the long way rather than the shortcut to fix things for Nigerians.
I think speaking of policies, Peter Obi once said in an interview that, you know, most of the policies that were put in place, or that has been put in place by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's not like maybe he's against them, you know, outrightly, but then he can do it in a better way. Looking at the fact that he won't just come in the first day in office and remove fuel subsidy and then, you know, float the Naira. He feels like these policies can actually, you know, be done in a much better way. Like before you do those kind of things, put some things in places, you know, that can actually, you know, reduce the effects on the people. And that was, you know, part of what he said. But one thing about politicians is, you know, when they are not in office, they tend to know how best to do things.
I wanted to say that the best players are always on the bench.
So
because they see things that oh, you should have done it this way. But
exactly.
Then it's always better, it's always clearer when you're on the bench. So but when you are there on the field of play, you know it's not as easy as you think it is.
Exactly. So when they come to power, you begin to wonder, this same person, you know, that had a lot of ideas about how to tackle insecurity, you know, tackle electricity issues, and then this person will come and say, okay, Nigeria has been bad for years, let's just continue. So that's one issue that, you know, I have with politicians. However, I think it's part of the coalition and part of the opposition party, even though we don't know where he's going to stand now, whether Labour Party. There are even speculations that he might move to the PDP. You know, of course, so we do not know, but I think he's right on track to come out to say that, you know, when they say things like that, it helps the government to say, okay, let's sit up. How can we actually work towards this? Because we've seen cases like that in recent times.
Constructive criticism is also an interesting thing to see. It's important that we do that, especially as the opposition party. It is important that they come out to say, oh, if there's anything you are doing that we feel like, oh, you could have actually done it a different way, it's fine. But the truth of the matter is policies are not factory fitted. You know, when you design policies or probably borrow policies from other countries, you want to, you know, implement it in your own country. It doesn't mean it's going to work straight up. You know, it's going to go through some incubation periods, teething problems will happen before it eventually becomes what you see and say, oh, these are, you know, interesting policy. And most of the times, some interesting policies on paper are really bad policies when implemented. So it doesn't matter. See, countries do have their specifications, they have their peculiarities. So regardless of what you are bringing on board, the ideas you have while campaigning, when you get to office, you realize the fact that, oh, we just cannot do it this way. And people will begin to ask questions. Oh, but he said we can do this, we can do that. Hey, he got there and realized the fact that...
I think that happens when you don't study the terrain. You don't study the political structure. You just have ideas. You don't think of how it can work. Just like the way we adopted, you know, the American system of government without thinking about, you know, how Nigeria is built, the structures. You know, you have issues like that. Don't just have ambition. Have strategy, make inquiries, research, and that's what we lack. Politicians, a lot of them don't do research. We don't even have data. That's one of the problems that we have. So one thing I think this ruling government can do is, apart from throwing out figures, sometimes you can get hungry if you read some of the figures and you begin to wonder. You can even be in arts and humanities and understand all of these figures. It depends on, you know, how versatile you are with, you know, topics around, you know, the politics of your country. So apart from throwing out these figures, recently I read the reports that, you know, close to 400,000 Nigerian students have benefited, you know, from the student loan scheme. A lot of persons are asking, where's the data? Don't just give us that huge figure. We want to know the data. So apart from throwing out the figures, explain to people. I mean, let them have a clear understanding.
Exactly.
Let them have a clear understanding. I've met with some Nigerians and they will tell you, when they hear big money in the newspaper, they will tell you, I don't want to hear it. Why? Because the feel, you know, is fabricated or so. So communication is key.
It's very important.
In as much as, okay, you want people to understand that this will not happen in a day. But because a lot of persons, they want someone to come into power and just change everything. It doesn't happen that way.
I think to
there are issues on ground.
Yeah, to buttress your point about data, you know, the fact that Nigerians really do not care about data, especially people at the corridor of power. I think in my experience as a market researcher, I've only seen a few political studies I have actually been on. Only a few politicians have actually engaged market researchers to, you know, probably sample people's opinion and check exactly what is my faith in the next election. People don't do it here. And that actually started when, you know, the APC was, the formulation of the APC then. But what I'm trying to drive at is, in foreign countries, especially in America, a candidate already knows his fate even by just market research. You know that, oh, I think I have the upper hand. If I do this, if I do that, there's a chance I'll win the election. But here, everybody just run to the poll. Whoever has the biggest, fattest pocket wins the election, or probably carry the day at the end of the day. But then, I think changes can be made. Peter Obi is making a very valid point, saying, look, people really do not care about it, and they just want to be able to afford. See, when you talk to an average Nigerian, people, the so-called poorest of the poor, you realize the fact that they really do not need too much. They just want to survive. They want to be able to do basic things, and they are not lazy people.
Okay, that's why I said, speaking of what to do, it's not just about having political knowledge, as a politician, gather other kind of knowledge, because you are going to need it when you come to power. Because we've seen cases of a ruling governor that could not read the budget properly. Yeah. What do you make of that? I mean, these are the issues.
That's disastrous. But let's take the comment before we go. I think Cecilia Remy says the games Tinubu is playing is even more stressful than the governing the right way. Imagine you have to pay for false statistics, pay for online warriors to defend you online, settle your opponents to support you, settle the media to push a positive spin on you, on your bad government, and then all because you don't want to rule the right way, but to play politics with people. I mean, people always have opinions. Not just that comment there. There are other comments. When I saw Tinubu statistics, I shocked, because even the inflation in Nigeria is affecting us outside Nigeria. I mean, well, they say people who are in the diaspora get to enjoy more because they make pounds and then stay into naira. There's a lot of money when they send here. So that's why you are seeing major projects. If you go through the express, you are traveling, you see people already buying expanse of land, estates that will not start in the next 20 years. They're already putting the gates there. But the chances of us destroying things by ourselves is very high.
And on top of that, we are still battling with insecurity. Which has put us in a very bad light, in the global map. Yeah. So these are the things that we should begin to look at what US is doing. I read a report, I think recently, that said, people who used to travel to the United States to give birth and to acquire citizenship, it's going to be very hard for you to do that now. Yeah. Why do you think all of this, is coming to play?
Because they know why you are coming to their country.
Exactly.
So they just want to make sure you do not come for that.
And we have a lot to make this country.
Yes, that brings us to the end of today's edition of the big story has ended. This is Trend Watch. Of course, this has ended too. And of course, Daybreak Live is going to an end. We say a very big thank you to everyone that has been a part of the show so far. This has been a wonderful session. We do hope that you join us again tomorrow for another interesting edition. Today being Tuesday, as I keep being good out there, keep being safe. Samson Balogun is my name.
All right, thank you for being a part of the show. Do well to join us same time tomorrow, 7 to 9, and of course, through to Friday. Before I go, I want to say, be the example you wish to see. My name is Oluwayemi Adela. I'm saying good morning.